Hello and welcome everybody to today's very special session by the Gold and Silver Club, how to trade the UK election 2017. During the session today, we will be covering this. We will be going through a watch list, opportunities, a forecast of where we expect gold, silver and oil to be heading next. We'll be looking at equities. We can have a look also at cable as well as we get closer to the US election results later on tonight, and of course providing live support as well. So before we get started, before we get into it, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading, as internationally respected analysis and our opinions on the metals, the energies and the agricultural markets. They are routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. For further information, club and our expertise, please do visit our website, which is www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. Okay, we'll just quickly run you through some of the top trades that we've had over the last week at the Gold and Silver Club, our portfolio performance, trading performance update, utilizing our exclusive research-driven strategy. So it's been very lucrative following on from last week's oil from the OPEC meeting from the end of May to take advantage of the sell-off in oil. Oil has now broken down over 8% in actual fact since the OPEC meeting at the end of May. And we've capitalized on this, first of all, by 250-point breakdown in price after we saw essentially OPEC agree to extend the output cut by additional 9 months. And we saw very much by the rumor side a perfect sell short opportunity here for oil. We've also capitalized, particularly off the back of very weak non-farm payrolls, on the breakout trade with gold, where it has revisited the April, banking 200 points profit from Friday through to Tuesday nicely indeed. And also more recently, as of yesterday, we saw oil break down again off the back of the oil inventories increase in 9 weeks, and with that we capitalized on the remainder of our sell short on oil for 270 points profit. It has been very lucrative. Oil, gold as well has created a number of trading opportunities, and of course right now we've got a lot happening at the moment. James Comey right now, I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this, is currently testifying. Been watching that over the last hour as it has been unfolding. We've certainly seen some movement as well off the back of the EC earlier on, and Mario Draghi's speech too. So we've seen some volatility on the dollar. Most notably, gold and silver have had quite a lot of movement as well. And then we have the final major news item today, which is, of course, the UK election. So Prime Minister Theresa May has called for a snap UK election on the 8th of June. What does that mean for the markets? What can we start to prepare for ahead of the results coming out later on today? So how the final financial markets kick off in the final hours today. So traders all over the world will of course be watching the results very closely. For traders, the action will start around 10 p.m. UK time on Thursday the 8th. Polls are published. Trading will be going and increasing substantially into the night. See, of course, we'll start to get some volatility off the back of the close today at 10 p.m. London time, and then into the early hours of Friday morning up until around 2 a.m. UK time is when we can start to see a clear-cut exit pop. So as the final results start to come in and a clear winner does emerge, we will be looking for some big moves in the market. So we'll be looking for some lucrative trading opportunities. Certainly between the hours of 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. it can represent some great trading opportunities. For those of you who may have traded the US election and also Brexit, you will note that during that in the Asia Pacific session, there are opportunities. It's the ultimate window of opportunity not to be missed. We'll talk you through some of the trade opportunities that we see lining up in the markets today as well. That is the exact time when really you want to be taking advantage of the moves here. We saw that on Brexit, on the US election, and now, of course, we have the UK election as well. Down for you the key times to watch today on election day. The polling stations open, of course, today at 7 a.m. at UK time. They will be closing at UK time, so approximately about the next 5.5 hours or so. Immediately after voting stations close, news and media organisations will release exit polls that might give an early indication of who won. So 7 a.m. polling today, 10 p.m. polling stations will close, the counting begins, and then immediately after 10 p.m. news organisations will start to publish their first exit polls. Before midnight is usually declared at this time, and then around 3 a.m. we should have a clear winner, so we should know who has won, and then of course the final results are expected to be confirmed late tomorrow morning. So what will happen if the Conservative Party wins? So we'll break it. The Conservative Party wins, what will happen? See the Labour Party win. So on the back of a Conservative Party win, would essentially see in the markets is broad agreement that a Conservative win, a greater sense of certainty and stability in the financial markets ahead of Britain's critical EU exit negotiations, which are due to formally start on the 19th of June. Now, a surge in opinion polls by the opposition Labour Party has forced a lot of traders to pay a lot more attention to the UK general election now, as it was expected initially to mark for Theresa May, but that has very much changed, as the polls have shown us more recently, where Labour have caught up to the Conservatives. So what would it mean if we do see a First of all, we need to look at what would happen if we've got a majority at a very short. So first of all, if we have a look at what would happen in the case of a majority, the pound is likely to rally. We're likely to see a significant breakout, which could be very short-lived. We'll have to see how much momentum we get. We can have a look at that on the chart very shortly. But that's because more seats could then signal a better exit package for the EU. So Theresa May will be in a stronger position to then negotiate for Brexit and the EU packages. However, if the majority is slimmer, certainty and of course drive the UK currency down, so we could see a sell-off with the pound. Now gold will certainly be a market to look out for. If we see the Conservatives, we would likely see a decrease in the need for safe havens, trigger a sell-off certainly for gold, whilst any sell-offs opposite effect and lift gold prices as investors start to flock to. So we'll be monitoring certainly the opportunities which occur on both the British pound, cable, and also, of course, gold as well. Essentially, on a Conservative win with a majority, we would expect the pound to rally, the gold to potentially sell off or stay muted and not have very much impact on the precious metals. However, what would happen if the Labour Party wins? Okay, so if Labour was to win as a shift away from the status quo, similar to the vote for Brexit and also Donald Trump as well, a Labour victory will likely get into uncharted waters, create a sense of instability. There is broad agreement that currency markets, the pound and the euro, will weaken. Equity markets would experience aggressive sell-offs, and that uncertainty could pervade the financial markets for a long time and steer the UK into very unpredictable waters in the EU exit ahead. So we could certainly see a pullback here for the pound if we were to see the Labour Party to win. So if Labour win drop to quite significantly, we could see were to lose a major majority, the two biggest parties could also engage in horse trading to negotiate a coalition. Is so a factor too, something that may drag out for weeks and also have a negative impact on the UK economy and also on as well, and of course the FTSE too. Now, if we were to also see the Labour Party win, a victory for Labour in terms of impact on gold would likely increase the need for safe havens. We saw what happened on Brexit, biggest one-day moves on record for gold, 1,000 points that day, so huge move. And interestingly, gold pulled back in the earlier session ahead of that news item and ahead of the Brexit vote being completed, and surge later on in the day. And gold has actually pulled back today, but is already getting supported. James Comey is testifying at the moment. We're seeing some volatility. In fact, gold is trading at $1,275 per ounce. It is oversold on the day. I'm seeing a lot of similarities to what we saw actually in the lead up to both the US election and also the lead up to Brexit as well. In terms of gold's pullback that we've seen today, in my opinion, it's a bit suspect, this pullback that we've got at the moment, which could set up for a significant move. But we'll have a look at that very shortly on the charts as we go through some additional analysis. To see Labour to win, that increased safe haven demand, gold and silver fashion, the impact seen following on from the Brexit vote and the Donald Trump victory as well. We can't rule anything out at the moment. We want to be prepared for whatever happens to the UK election result today. So the financial market reaction, just to break it down for you, for those of you, I'm sure a lot of you did trade it, but if you didn't trade Brexit or the US election, just to show you what actually happened off the back of that. So the EU, we saw the FTSE, the UK stock market, fell to a 3-month low following on. So a very similar sell-off, a very significant sell-off. And that occurred during the Asia Pacific session, European and US equity markets as well, after the follow through across equities. And we'll be having a look at the FTSE shortly as well. But we need to just bear that in mind, what could happen off the back of a Labour win potentially. Now, the pound also fell to an 8-week low against the dollar and a 3-year low against the yen as investors sought safe havens in gold. That was off the back of the Brexit vote. We saw considerable move on the pound. Aware of that that's previously and what could happen off the back of potential uncertainty in the markets. During the EU referendum Brexit vote, we saw pound volatility soar to the highest levels since 2008. So we saw extreme volatility off the back of that, and you can see very volatile times previously. In fact, I was having a look at the volatility index, and it has gapped today, so the mix is starting to go up. These are treading a little bit of water at the moment, although this near the highs, but at the moment as well. So we can have a look at that shortly too. Precious metals rally since 2008 financial crisis after Britain's vote to exit the European Union to demand the highest level on record. So you need to be aware of that because of the impact we could have on gold and silver opportunities, which could result depending on the results of the UK election today. Gold surged to a 2-year following on from the Brexit vote, ran over 8% to hit 1,356. Really interesting is this time last year at Brexit, gold was roughly trading at the same price. So we took a break to 1,002 US, which went on to hit 1,350. Right now, we can see that gold is trading at 1,276 US dollars per ounce and has come very close to breaking above the 1,300 level. It's so close to doing so at the moment. So there's a lot. If you traded Brexit, if you traded the US election, the way the market's looking at the moment, it's poised for some big moves, I would suggest, on the UK election results today. So certainly available for that, just ready to take advantage of some of the lucrative trading opportunities that we could get off the back of that. I would suggest a lot of the move is going to start occurring from 10 o'clock through to the early hours of the Asia Pacific, and you are able to keep in front of the markets, monitor the markets during that time. It's usually the most lucrative. If you get to it too late or in the morning, by the time most of the moves have occurred, you can miss out, and then you might feel that you've missed out on some trades. You start to enter positions at incorrect levels, and you can get yourself into an unprofitable situation. So I would suggest, if you're going to trade the UK election, take advantage of the moves. You want to get on it early. Your greens from 10 o'clock London time tonight will be hosting a special Gold and Silver Club. In fact, for all of our traders during the results that come out tonight as well, real time, as we're getting the market developments come through, and we'll be awaiting to see what sort of impact that does have on the market. But again, you want to try and capitalize on that window of opportunity between 10 o'clock tonight and then into the Asia Pacific session, and then roughly into about 2 or 3 in the morning is where you can get a lot of volatility and trading opportunity. Okay, so what previously in the US election win from gold soared 5%, 1,300 was gold's second biggest one-day move since the Brexit vote. So we saw a huge move off the back of the US election win by Donald Trump. And of course, we also saw base metals increase significantly as well, following on from his election and revamp of America. And thing which has been promised. The led copper to post its biggest gain on record, surging over 20%, nickel and iron increased by 83 year to date. Huge moves on it, and at the moment, palladium is the top performing of the metals so far this year. So just to give you an idea, in terms of closer, as we got closer, we saw from the polls that they were telling us in the lead up to the vote that we were seeing the poll showing almost neck and neck right into the day of the Brexit vote. And also on that, we started to see, of course, volatility increase. And with that, you need to bear, a lot of you are not, when volatility goes up, it is your best trading under these. I personally, and us at the Gold and Silver Club, very much like trading off major news events like this. For us, it's predictable if you know what you're doing, if you know which markets to look at for the intermarket correlations, what to take advantage of, and if you plan out the various scenarios which could occur as well. That will help you get an edge. You certainly don't want to just come to the table, come to your trading screen and knee-jerk reactions without any prior preparation or thought, research, trading strategy. You need to know what you can do ahead to take out each of your trades. For me, that's very important if you trade news. Yes, if you trade news off a knee-jerk reaction and you don't, you're doing in the sense of you don't have all your profit targets worked out and you're not sure how much further the trade could go or what the intermarket correlations are, you might need a little bit of assistance on that, which of course we at the Volatility Index is certainly a market you want to have a look at during times of uncertainty like this. Most investors, of course, know that gold tends to be perceived and treated in times of uncertainty and when markets are volatile. It's essentially the fear trade. Okay, so gold goes up when there's uncertainty. We've got James Comey speaking at the moment. It's fascinating. If you've been watching his testimony, been watching it for now the last hour, and I'll continue to watch that after this session. He used to deliver his testimony. Gold is going up. The volatility index is going up, and equities to a certain extent are pausing at the moment. So we're not seeing any additional upside, and yes, at the moment it's hovering around 2,000 right now. The VIX, again, volatility index is here, gives us is a good idea upside for gold and potentially some downside. This plays out today. It's also a gauge for accurately predicting how this will move as well, because the VIX has been very depressed recently. It's decreased a lot back down to the 10-year, and it could be move in the days to come. We also have the FOMC next week on Wednesday, and over the next week or so, including the rest of James Comey's testimony today and the UK election. So this is the correlation between gold and VIX, gold and the volatility index, and what you want to be looking at with both of these markets. So we've got a very strong correlation between essentially the VIX. What you need to know is anytime the VIX gets above the 30 level, which is in 2001, 2002, 2008, 2009, 2010, gold seized by over 10%. Whenever we get the VIX and a reading above 30. Now, that would need to be significantly above where we are at the moment, but it is noteworthy on very big moves to the like that. That is where you can really start to see very strong moves on gold. It's so near now to the 300s that if we were to break above that key level, we could certainly see the market, and an event like UK election, if it was to be a surprise to the markets, could be the sort of event that could cause a big off the back of additional volatility off the back of James Comey's testimony today as well. So we'll be watching out for that very carefully. The gold price and the Brexit correlation was also very interesting as well, because as we got closer and closer to Brexit, gold price the tightly exit polls as well, when the odds of the UK least started gold prices when the odds fell. It's got to be the Tories do get a majority today. They have a relatively muted move, and we see the pound rally and for the FTSE rally and so forth. We need to be aware of both sides of this trade at the moment, what to take advantage of if we were to see some sort of volatility in the market or a result which has not been anticipated or expected. Okay, good. So with that, first of all, I will draw your attention to gold. And I'm just on the lower time frames on the 4 hour. We've come back down to revisit the lower end of the trend channel. We've got some volatility on the back of in the East B. Actually been looking, we've taken out since got very oversold condition here. Beginning of we've taken each of these up. We banked another trade earlier on in the week. This probably back towards the end of the channel, back towards support here as well. Is an interest level. But for me, it's make or break zone into next week and as we go towards the FOMC. Question is, has gold formed a double top? In which case, is it going to start to correct low? Today could be an important day for that, because if we were to see gold, for example, close back below the 1270 zone to 1265 zone, we could then start to see a deeper correction in anticipation for the FOMC statement next week. However, we've come back down to an underlying level of support. This is the level of support, certainly around the 1270 zone. We're seeing gold bid up at the moment on lower time frames. We have here on lower time frames as testaments from a reward point of view. Breaks down. Could see, we saw this going back both Brexit and the US election, where gold pulled back in the session, and then it bid back up. We will also potential for gold to break out, urge again today, yes, back towards the hundreds, and of course a break above that level, we could see quite a significant move. So we'll see how this plays out for gold. Gold has had a pullback today alongside silver. Both these markets have pull zones where it could still go either way. It could get supported at these levels and we could see another rally, or it could be the start of a deeper correction and a double top here for gold as we get into and get closer to next week's FOMC statement. So I would suggest there's going to be trade opportunities in either direction here, either to take advantage of additional momentum to that, if we see more pressure side for gold here as well, but on the lower time frames is what I would suggest you want to be much for gold, because it's getting supported at some critical channels at the moment. A very similar situation. Silver has also pulled towards the lower end of the channel, found support, short hold after the close today. We're getting some support at the moment at the side of this. I'm very interested to see if that will hold today, where it could have broken below that, broke below on in the day. That suggests a downside for silver, and it's holding. And I'll be watching this to see if it gives we get follow through. So then we're a pennant formation on silver right now. Out potential, or it could really go either way. So there's trading opportunities on silver here in either direction at the moment, but it is getting a bit of a bounce after the pullback. Gold is trading at 1276. I would keep an eye on both of those markets today as we get into the UK election later on, the results of that later on today as well. Okay, I would also point out to you some of the trade opportunities which we could see develop. Certainly on the pounds, pulling back, which is interesting to potentially be today of back the UK election. Pound, 2 points of view, it's allowed high ability trade opportunities would be one. Of course, if you get dividend, we would expect the pound to rally, and we get quite a swing from 2017 towards the upper of the knockout back 2 zone. We would therefore look for a decent momentum. What would be mindful of there is how long that move would last for, how long the euphoria of a breakout like that would last for, because we could have the potential to, although we could see a short-term rally, we could see it short-lived and start to get a pullback again as we start to see potentially profit taking, and then the euphoria start to wane. So short term, we could see a potential breakout, a good solid move on the pound if we were to see that strong majority for a Theresa May. That in the past, that is what we would expect off the back of a majority for Conservatives. If we were to see Jeremy Corbyn win, that would likely create downside for the pound. So we would likely see a sell-off. In fact, there is a bear flag setting up on the pound at the moment. So it would be simply a case of taking that for a sell short on a break of support, and we could see some considerable downside as well. So I would look at the, again, you can also just draw a pennant on the pound here, and you can see where it's just consolidating, and look for trading opportunities in either direction depending on the results there. So again, strong Conservative majority, I would expect a breakout opportunity. Majority, I would therefore expect, or Labour wins, I would just expect a breakdown on the pound. Look out for clear-cut trades. Now, of course, if it's very close and there tends to be the if there's a very slim majority for the Conservative Party, if we see a slim majority and we get a hung parliament, that is likely to also create some consolidation, and probably will get some weeks or just some ebbing and flowing in the pound, not any real strong direction, not the sort of breakout on either direction that you would expect on a decisive win. So really a decisive win from the standpoint of getting a sizable move on the pound would be better. Just whether it's going to be a majority Conservative win or Labour win, we'd probably get a much clearer direction there on the pound. Also, going over to the FTSE is putting right now. If we were to see a Conservative win, we would look also, you've got bull flag set up there in development, so I would break out essentially above today's high, back above the 21 MA, back above resistance here, and I'd look for a breakout back to the highs of this year, and I would certainly look for an opportunity to go long if we were to see a Conservative win. Is going back to historical data as well. We moved, although I don't know how much we would get off the back of a Labour win, but with a Conservative win, we've actually get a breakout and a surge to the upside, which could continue for a couple of weeks at least. Hit count for that before we then start to see it wane. So I'll be looking out for the opportunity certainly on the FTSE today, see what the results show, what sort of trade opportunities do get provided. Of course, the pound at the moment and formation, which means it is in direction. Of course, that will just be confirmed by the result of the UK. I would suggest you need to quick fast to get in and out. I get a lot how late they are. If you are able to be trading it during, and depending on where you are in the world, of course, I appreciate that on FX Street, it's not only those who are based in the UK or Europe, it's all over the world. So it might be just within your time zone, which is absolutely fine. But for those based in the UK or Europe and you're wondering whether you should be staying up all night, take the trades or not, typically the way I've seen this play out on both Brexit and the US election is there's quite a lot of profitable trades being made right in things. So from the window of about 2 a.m. in the morning through to about 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. But by most of the trade has been done, most of the profit has been made. And if you do need to go to bed or sleep, or you need to get on, get ready for your day the next day, I would ensure that you at least bank some of your profits, protect your stop losses, because by the time the morning comes around, there can be a lot of volatility, there can be big retracements. And if you've done very well, don't try to squeeze more out of the market than is available to you. Just appreciate whatever profits that you have made and then get those banked, and then just be ready fresh to start your day again, in my opinion. However, if you do want to stay throughout that into the morning and you want to just have a very long session of trading, of course you can do that. You just need to be monitoring and quite nimble on the market reaction. More European during that session, you can see profit taking, also a lot more liquidity, again a lot more flow into the market as we go into the European session, the London session, and that can change quite a lot of the trades. It's happened on both the UK election, it's happened both on Brexit and the US election, where particularly on gold, actually it's been most noted, big breakout overnight and being significant, and then it starts to retrace as the UK session starts, and the retracement does. Traders are also getting in at the wrong price. It's a bull trap in that sense. That's Brexit on the election. Fear starts to see traders try to buy gold. They buy it at the wrong price, only for gold to correct, and that marks the high, as opposed to a buying opportunity, unless you got positioned early to take the trade from earlier on in the Asia Pacific session, then it's very profitable. From trading all of those firsthand, from seeing the flow, from seeing how the market behaves, reacts, being profitable on those, both of those announcements, especially on gold, I would suggest you want to be looking for the markets to move. So right now, I would suggest gold. Certainly want to keep an eye on gold. Is moving. So I suspect he said something which has moved gold over the last about minutes. Well, the last, yeah, about 15 to 30. We'll go back over to gold, and I'll show you this just on the time. Trace this pull back. I think it'll be just starting to go back up. 1277 is the price. 4 hours for yet to get bids here, because I would still go to read 1300. The possibilities are going to happen. Going to break 1300 before the FOMC statement. If we're going to get a breakout on gold, a significant move higher, I would look for that move to occur between now and the FOMC statement, because usually before the FOMC statement, traders start to wait to see what the result of that will be. They start to take some profits as well. They want to make sure of whatever is provided by the Federal Reserve. Especially, of course, we're anticipating an interest rate hike next week from the FOMC statement, say the 14th of June. But what we're looking out for is how aggressively the Fed are looking to increase interest rates on in the year as well, what their overall tone is, how Janet Yellen does during the press conference as well. There were 8 FOMC statements every year. 4 of those, one every single quarter, is the biggest, highest impact, and one of those is happening next Wednesday. So you just want to be aware of that. Look for move that we get into the close day at the UK election. On gold at the moment is finding support where you would expect it to find support if it was going to remain within as long as able to hold onto the gains around this level. Again, I'll just draw your attention to volatility in gold and silver at the moment after the pullback earlier on today as well. So really, would have on the gold, silver, of course, the FTSE, definitely, of course, pound, US dollar as well. You definitely want to be looking out for the price action and volatility on the pound too. And of course, let me just cover oil as well. It has been very lucrative. For those of you who are on our session this week and the week before we announced, it had in this breakdown in price. Our first entry netted up 215 points profit within 24 hours. Our second entry gave us another 250 points. Also, with 200 points. So, lucrative from capitulate at the May there, continue to rally all the way up to the highs at the end of May here, but very much news. A lot of the move was already priced in, and by the time that OPEC came out, the fact that they were going to extend the output cut by 9 months, it was old news really, nothing new. And with that, we saw aggressive selling, and this provided a great opportunity to sell into oil. And we saw investors and traders hedging into that as well. And we saw significant selling to the downside, a retracement into the close on that Friday, which then rolled over, broke down, which gave another opportunity to sell short. Perfect V-shaped reversal pattern as well. So from a technical point of view, as well as fundamental, we had another reversal pattern, which I love these setups on oil. They often move really fast, and they give you some really good opportunities to capitalize on the moves. So we've seen additional follow through. What about now? So what could we start to look at the moment for oil at these levels? Well, on a closed week on US, oil has managed to close from around tests of this level. This is a major zone, and you could actually just going in higher time frame suggest that oil just moved sideways. What it's really doing is it's finding it's finding resistance, or it's finding $45 on a closing basis. It's finding resistance at $55 per barrel, and in the middle, the sweet spot at the moment is $50 open around that level, or at the moment we've of course had this pullback, especially yesterday on the oil inventories, which showed oversupply, the highest levels in over 9 weeks. That caused additional momentum to the downside as we've got a glut in oil supply at the moment. But we're back at key support levels. We'll be watching around these levels to see if there will be opportunities at this zone. I'll be a bit of a sell-off at the same time. It's quite oversold. So also I wouldn't be looking just to try and sell into the current price and to sell better entry, and we're going to buy, or you want to wait for some sort of a capitulation, very much like we had going back May. Take advantage of the next opportunity. You're now having lucrative here, so it's been a very. So with that, I wish you all luck with and trade opportunities, and you would like to get exclusive access to our private members live trade room, all you need to do is go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, complete the application form, and we'll get in touch with you ASAP. We are hosting a very special webinar tonight for all of our traders after 10 o'clock, which will be giving preparation for the breaking news, which will come through throughout the night for the UK election. We'll be getting ready for that. As a member of Gold and Silver Club, you get access to our commodity research and our research strategy. We provide you real-time trade notation on each trade, including the exact entry, exit, take the every trade that we are taking, as access to our live trading room and make trading web as well. You get access to all of that. So live trading rooms during the week, which enables the Gold Silver Club expert traders analyze the commodity markets right in front of you, pick up highly profitable trade setups, their exact entry, exit, profit targets on each of us, as we share exactly what we're doing at the market in the market, which makes it really easy for anybody to implement. We provide trade notifications mail and SMS alerts you real time to exactly what we're doing, how we're managing our portfolio, our entry, our exit, our take profit on every single trade. And of course, we provide exclusive traders, so our commodity market research market is really you edge your trades and a very clear understanding of the fundamentals and all of the research that goes into all of our trades as well. Of the Gold Club exclusive active trading room during the week, you get access to all of our trades, notifications, email and SMS. We also set you up with the platform, all of the charting, the indicators that we use. You get exact details of where we're entering, exiting, placing our take profit on every trade, a watch list of trading opportunities every week with a week ahead watch list and trade ideas we provide, as well as real-time notifications on each trade taking, and institutional level trading research and commodity insights to give you the ultimate edge in the market. So again, it is www.jointhegoldensilverclub.com, and we will get in touch with you ASAP. I very much look forward to those who will be making an application to join us at the Gold and Silver Club. So with that, guys, good trading. I'll give you some good preparation for today's UK election. Good luck out there. I look forward to hear from those of you who will be joining us at the Gold and Silver Club. Okay, thanks everybody. Take care, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.